guys, and welcome to today's podcast. We have Maddie, also known as Acne Maddie on Instagram. Thank you so much for joining the podcast today. I'm so excited for people to get to know you a little bit better because you're so amazing, and I've been following you for years. You have just been such a light in this industry, and I know a lot of people look up to you, but I want to hear a little bit about the OG Acne Maddie and how it all started.
Yeah. Okay. So, first of all, thank you for having me. I'm very excited. Honestly, Acne Maddie, it didn't just happen overnight. I feel like there was a big journey to getting here. As far as like getting into aesthetics in general, my mom is an esthetician, so she got me really into it. I went to school and all that stuff, and then I really was just treating kind of everything. Like I didn't specialize. I was like, okay, I'm out of school. I'm going to be doing anti-aging, acne, pigmentation. Like I didn't really niche on anything yet. Yeah. Because I was just kind of figuring out what I wanted to do, but I had terrible acne at the time, and I struggled even just clearing my own face. And so I was like, okay, first of all, I need to figure out how to clear my own skin. Like that is my first thing. When I actually decided to get like more training and like really dive deeper into that, I found a way to clear my own skin with ingredients and products. And that's when I was like, okay, I think acne is like what I want to do. Like this is my thing. Now, of course, it took a long time to actually get good at clearing acne. It took years of like working with people. But when I first started my Instagram, I was actually, maybe a lot of people don't know this, I was Facials by Maddie. I wasn't Acne Maddie. Okay. That was my very first Instagram handle when I started. And so I was still posting acne pretty much, but like that was my name. And then I think after like a year or so, I was like, I need to like really be like acne based only. And so then I changed my name to Acne Maddie, and I feel like that really stuck. Like people really were like, okay, that like they knew me by Acne Maddie. So like it grew into that. But yeah, it's been a journey.
Oh my gosh. I know when I think of like, your brand is so solidified, and it's so amazing to see your colors and your graphics and everything come together. That's what I just love about you. And I think niching down is so, so important. And like you said, you're not going to figure it out in the beginning. I think that's what every esthetician struggles with in the beginning. But what did you find the most success when you were trying to clear your own acne? What was the process?
Honestly, I feel like I was trying so many different brands, and they were professional brands. It's not that they were like, low quality or anything. Like they were professional, nice brands that other estheticians used, but it is so specific clearing acne. Like it has to be the right percentage. You have to use it the right amount of times a week. Like it's just so specific when you're trying to clear acne. And so I think for me, like, to be honest, I hadn't delved into like mandelic acid. I didn't know how to use benzoyl peroxide properly. Like I had tried some benzoyl peroxide cleansers, like stuff that was similar, but like sometimes, like, not to get into details, but like sometimes cleansers just aren't enough. Like you need leave-on, benzoyl peroxide, and it's just really specific little things like that. So I think once I really like dove into it deeper and started like really figuring out my routine and like what ingredients and like learning about the ingredients specifically, then I was actually able to clear my acne. And it did take time. I think it took me a whole year to clear my own face. And now I clear people obviously quicker. But when you don't know what you're doing at first, it's like, it took me a long time to actually figure out my own face. And even after figuring out my own face, like I really started going into like, okay, I want to start helping other people now because I cleared my own. And I thought like, oh, I'm so confident now. I cleared my own skin. Like I can clear anybody. But then when I started getting clients in and really like niching on acne, I realized, oh, like there's lots of different types of acne, and like I actually have a lot to learn. So there was still a huge learning curve. Like even after I cleared my own face, like that's my face, and it worked, but like, which was amazing. But there was still so much for me to learn as far as like other people's skin and different Fitzpatricks, and like, it's like there's so much. And so even after clearing my own skin, it was like, there's still so much to learn. But
Totally. I remember when I was so confused. I was like, I felt like that was something that was missing in my practice. I was like, I need to learn how to treat acne, what acne is. You were actually a huge inspiration for me at the time. And it was something that I realized, like you said, when you get into, like, acne is so complex. Like everyone always says, there's so many different things that involves of clearing somebody in different skin types.
Yeah.
How long would you say it took you to get comfortable like with clients? Is there something, did you take clients in for before and afters, kind of take them through the process?
Yeah. So I think at first I was definitely not comfortable at all. And what's interesting is like, you know, when you go through like a course or something, obviously like Face Reality has their course that you can go through to like really learn the ins and outs of acne, which, you know, I did that when I was first getting started. They, you know, you get this certificate, like I'm an acne specialist now, but I think just getting out of that, there is still so much to learn. Like it's a great base and it's a great basis to like get started. But I feel like until you're hands on with clients and you're actually the one like working with them, you know, it can be, it can be like a lot to really start to learn like the ins and outs of like customizing and everything. And so as far as like how long it takes and everything,
like as far as comfortability
like being comfortable
goes,
like I would say it took me definitely about, I would say 6 months to a year to really start to like figure out like, okay, I know what I'm doing. When I first had people in, I had my very first client. His name was Walter. I had been working with him for like a couple years, to be honest. Like I had already been kind of trying to do acne.
That sounds like an old man name.
I know he was like 14.
Oh, Walter.
I know he was so sweet. And like I felt so bad for Walter because like I was really trying. Like I was really trying to clear him, and his acne was non-inflamed. He was so stubborn. And so when I really was starting to like get into treating acne, I told Walter's mom, I was like, look, like I'm really trying to get into this. I'll like give it to you at a discount because like you're my guinea pig. Like I'm learning. And so like I actually got really good experience. Now I didn't give discounts to everybody. Obviously you can't do that. Like you need to learn
in the beginning. Those are the things.
But after that I started seeing more and more clients, and like I think after maybe 8 months to like a year, I started being like, okay, I feel pretty confident like with different skin types and like what I'm doing. But at first you do feel like you're guessing. You're like, okay, I'm going to do this regimen and I hope that it works how I want it to. And then you learn like, okay, actually if I would have done this percentage, it may have gone better or, you know, things like that.
Absolutely. I feel the same way. I mean, you have to find those little opportunities to learn, but also obviously your time is valuable. So it's like, how can we learn and give, you know, those little learning opportunities? And it's funny that you said you did that, because I actually like took somebody through a whole transformation so that I felt comfortable. And like it took so much more time to learn after the course, because like to be honest, Face Reality was really confusing for me. Like there was a lot of information that I felt like I had to go like back over and over and over. And I think like you said, it's a great base course. But I felt like there was so many protocols. Like it was so overwhelming for me. And like you truly have to figure out, like, honestly, you kind of got to experiment and go off on your own and figure out what is working best and like kind of get your secret sauce.
I think that's kind of where I was going with it, because I think after, I mean, okay, now like say I'm a few years in now, like, and I was like clearing hundreds of clients, I started like figuring out, okay, I'm actually doing it like a little bit of a different way. Like I've made my own way of using the products. I'm not just following protocols. I think that's where you get to when you become more of an expert in it, is like you have the base protocols, but like now you have so much experience that you're kind of like, you don't follow those. You're like doing your own thing. I mean, obviously with certain things like facials, you don't want to go too far off, like with peels and things, but like when it comes to customizing and stuff, like you really start to figure out like, okay, I actually have my own way that I'm doing it, and that's really what's getting me the results. Because people would always ask me, like, well, I'm using the same products as you. Like, why am I not seeing the drastic results that you are? And I'm like, look, you can have the most amazing products ever, but if you don't use them like specifically correct, they're not going to work how you want them. And so that's why I tell people, like, you can have the basis and like the products, but you really have to have experience like customizing, because everybody's skin is so drastically different. And you have to start people different, and you have to up percentages halfway through or not up them halfway through. Like there's so many ways that you can change things along the way. And so that's when I started doing SD Zooms. And I started offering SD Zooms because I'd get people that would reach out and be like, okay, I have this client, like, how would you treat them? Because clearly what I'm doing, even though it's the same products, like it's not working how it is working for you. And I started offering Zoom calls and like giving advice, and that was really cool because I could kind of connect with estheticians more too.
Amazing. Do you still offer those?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah,
awesome.
I still offer calls and stuff. It's definitely like mixy skincare, going to be like advice with using stuff. But I mean, benzoyl peroxides and things, like there is certain ways that I feel like there's a lot to know with all of that stuff. So I still offer calls for that too.
Awesome. And then for I want to talk about ingredients really quick exactly. For acne, what are your favorite skincare ingredients?
Okay. I have a few in like each category.
Yeah.
Okay. So obviously when it comes to like clearing the acne, if you follow me on Instagram, you know, like Mandelic, benzoyl peroxide, and then one of my newer, like actually huge hero products is hydrogen peroxide.
Okay.
And I feel like it's not as common right now in the acne space. Obviously there are some out there, but like it's not as common. People don't really know about it as much.
Yeah.
But I have a product, Hydroxy, that I've come out with Mixie Skincare that's actually been quite a big help for people because you get these clients that come in that they're allergic to benzoyl, or you could put them on the lowest percent of benzoyl peroxide and their skin just won't take it. Like it's just not happy.
Yeah.
So hydrogen peroxide in the Hydroxy has actually been a huge game changer for a lot of people because they can actually use something to still manage cystic acne, but it's not as strong. Or even for people that have more mild acne that they don't need something as strong as benzoyl, like it's just a little easier on your skin. I mean, there's a place and time for each ingredient. I think both are amazing. Like I use benzoyl, so I'm not gonna say I don't love benzoyl either, but that's where it really comes into customizing for clients. But definitely Mandelic, benzoyl peroxide, lower percents.
Yes.
I'm not like throwing everyone on 10.
Yeah.
And then hydrogen peroxide has been a really new kind of game changer, I feel. Yeah. And then of course, barrier health. I love like beta glucan, stuff like that, because that's obviously huge with acne too.
Oh yeah. I mean, your transformations are incredible. I'm like, I'm in awe every time you post a before and after. You are so talented.
Thank you.
Of course. So for ingredients wise and I want to talk about like you starting your own skincare line. Like that's huge. Do you obviously incorporate all of these products into your line? How did that process work? I know you slowly kind of release products, but like congratulations on your skincare line. I love your products.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So there was definitely a process with Mixie. I've been doing acne, I would say for almost like 8 years now. I mean, it's been quite a while. And so I think when you work with tons of people, you start to realize like you get the same complaints, right? Yeah. Like you work with all these acne clients and they're texting you, they're having issues, right? Like you're going to have ups and downs with the acne journey. Yeah. But one of the biggest things at first that I just was wanting to fix was like the hydration issue. Yeah. Because when you're on all these actives, you need hydration. Yeah. Like it's a huge part of having acne, and I think it gets looked over a little bit. Yes. And so with me, I was like, I felt something was missing with like the products I had available. And so that's when I started thinking, okay, I'd love to come out with like my own hydrator that like I know what's in it, and it's like extremely hydrating, but of course acne safe. Yeah. So that was my very first product, Dewdrop. Yeah. Dewdrop was my very first drop, and like I think that was so beneficial for my clients because I just was like, look, let's just throw this into your routine that you're already doing. Yeah. Like obviously they weren't on everything Mixie. That was the only Mixie. And people were like coming back to me and being like, my skin feels so much more hydrated now. Wow. Like I'm feeling better. So then I was like, wow, okay. Like I'm kind of filling in holes here. Like I see holes in like what they're complaining about or like issues that I'm having getting clients clear. Yeah. And I wanted to like fill in those gaps. And that's where Hydroxy came in. Yeah. Because I feel like with benzoyl, having the option of benzoyl or retinol or Mandelic, like I needed another option. Yeah. And so then I'm like, I think Hydroxy was my second product. Yeah. I'm like, I think that was my second one. That one was my second one I came out with because that was also filling a gap of like, I need something for people that can't tolerate benzoyl, just like all these little holes that I felt like I needed for different client situations. Yeah. So that's where Mixie was really like born. Yeah. Was like filling in holes that I felt my clients had. And it was just really for my clientele. Yeah. Like I felt like my clients need these. Of course now it's grown to other people are using it now. All these estheticians around the US are now using it for their clients, which I'm super excited about, like was not really expecting that. But yeah, I think that's where it was born out of. And now it's growing into like, I'm like, you know what? These products are doing so amazing. Like, I'm just going to make a whole line. Yeah. Like, why not? Like, exactly. I want to formulate it how I want it. Like, that's kind of, but that's where it started.
Yes. That's incredible. And I think it's really awesome how with anything you should be filling in gaps for your practice. I mean, that's why I cherry pick certain products. Yeah. So the fact that you were able to do it with your niche and bring that into your own practice, I think that's so amazing. And I'm like, again, in awe. I think it's incredible. How was the process like starting your own skincare line? How long did that take?
So it's quite a journey. I didn't really know what I was getting myself into. I'm definitely not going to claim to be like a scientist or, you know, like I'm not like the person in there mixing everything. Like I'm not going to claim to be that, you know, I'm definitely an esthetician. So I like stay in my lane when it comes to that. But I think with all the experience with acne products, like I knew what I wanted. Like I knew what ingredients I want. I know how I want them sourced. I know I want the quality. So like I really had a clear picture of like what I wanted. And so there is like a huge process to it. Like you have to work with certain labs. And I actually right now, I work with about 7 labs in 4 different countries right now for Mixi.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's
That's
not just, it's not just like, okay, I have a lab and they just like do everything. Because the thing is, different labs specialize in different things. So maybe this lab, I'm like, okay, I really love how they formulated my hydrator. And like, that's amazing. But like, I'm not loving the mandelic here. Like I'm not liking how it feels or how they're sourcing the mandelic acid. There's just like, there really is a big broad spectrum. And so I had to like go out and like reach out to all these labs, tell them what I'm doing, tell them what I want. And it ended up where like I have so many labs, which is amazing because like I get to really kind of cherry pick like, okay, this lab is amazing for my product for this. And like this lab is doing great for this. And like it does make it a little more complicated. But I've been able to really like get the best of the best from all of them and like make them into one line. You know? And so I feel like that was one of the hardest things. I've definitely, Mixi was in the works for probably about like a year and a half or 2 before really like starting to come out with everything. Because first you obviously want to make sure that everything's right. But then you want to like test it on yourself. You want to test it on other people because you want to make sure everything's good.
Absolutely.
And when you're working with acne, I mean, you need to make sure it clears acne.
Exactly.
You don't want to release something and it's like, oh, actually
your brand's on the line.
Like this isn't actually fixing my pimples.
Like, dang it, move too fast.
So like that was a huge thing. Like it had to get results, obviously. So that was really, really big. So it just takes time. And then I don't know if people know this, but I actually like, okay, the formulations I get from the labs, like I get the product sent to me, but we actually bottle our own products. We label, we ship, we distribute everything. Like we don't have other people doing that for us. So we had to get that set up and ready. So we actually do everything ourselves, which is really cool because you have more control over it. And I think that's like, not to go on like another little topic, but just like a note is like, you know, when you're working with other brands, you don't have control over the packaging, over, I don't know, even how it looks or like whether they change a formulation or not. I think that's something that I felt kind of frustrated with was like, you know, you're working with these products from, you know, somebody else that's making them. If they decide one day that they're going to change their formulation, you have absolutely no say in that. You now, that's what you get. You don't get to say, oh, actually, I don't like that. I want the old one back. It's not your control. And I think with Mixi, what I love is like, it's literally in my control. Like I decide what I want in it. I decide that I don't want anything changed. I decide that I want airless, you know, tubes because all my products are airless. So they, you know, they stay really good quality. So you just have way more control. But it is a whole process.
That's so crazy. I'm like fascinated by everything you're saying. And I love how much detail you've put into all the products. You could truly tell. I love your benzoyl peroxide. I mean, I love all your products, but I've noticed benzoyl peroxide has been a game changer for my practice. And you're doing amazing things. So for ingredients wise, do you incorporate any other acids? Do you love to, like, is it rare that you incorporate any other skincare ingredients or were those like your main ones?
I would say for majority of my clients, it's going to be those ones. It's mostly mandelic, benzoyl, or if they're not doing benzoyl, it'd be like the hydrogen peroxide. You know, I'm not huge on retinol. I know there's a lot of like controversy around retinol and acne. Personally, I'm just, every time I've tried having clients use like strong vitamin A's, it tends to make their inflamed acne really irritated and upset. And of course, everybody has different experiences. I know people that they went on tretinoin and they just had a great experience. But I would say almost every single one of my clients that comes to me, they've been on tretinoin and actually had a terrible experience. And it's not even just tretinoin, like, because obviously there's things about that one specifically, but like even just other brands of vitamin A that are used by estheticians, I am a little wary with it. So I'm not huge on retinol for my clients. I sometimes will incorporate it later. I will say though, in hydroxy, there is a tiny amount of retinol palmitate, which, you know, it's a gentler version of retinol. So like there is a little bit of that in there just to help with texture and all of that. But I really do stick with those ingredients. I don't really delve much into salicylic unless I'm dealing with like rosacea or something like that. But honestly, mandelic is such
Yeah.
I mean, it's a game changer product. I just feel like it works for everything, and it's so gentle, and there's so many ways you can use it. So I would say as far as actives go, like those are my go-tos for sure.
It's so funny because I incorporate the same way that you do in my practice. And I've just had I feel like, why make somebody go through the process longer and like have that crazy reaction? Because that's what I've seen. I was putting people specifically on Alpha Ret from Skin Better, and I'm like, oh my gosh, their acne is getting so much worse. And, you know, and I'm sure that there's people who have had great experiences, but like the majority of my clients were not getting success with their skin. And so I agree with you as trying to say is that it's like, I love the way you've been able to do things, and I've actually incorporated a lot of the ways that you do it into my practice, because I'm like, there's something different about her. She's acne Maddie. So I just want you to know I love what you're doing, and I love the way that you bring those ingredients into your practice. Now I want to talk about your branding, because your branding is incredible. I think that's something that really makes you stand out as a professional. Where did the blues come from? Like what makes you obsessed with blue?
Okay, I'll go back to where, I mean, even this was when I was even just facials by Maddie. Like this was before Acne Maddie. So I had already been an esthetician for about 5 years. Yeah. I had already been doing acne specifically for 3 years before I even started my Instagram. I didn't even have an Instagram for acne. Like I just had a personal with like random stuff. So I was like, you know what? I love photography just naturally myself. Like I love stuff like this. Like why wouldn't I have an Instagram for skin? Like it just kind of clicked in my head one day. I don't know. And I already had a good amount of before and afters from those 3 years of like, you know, working with people that I was like, I have stuff to post. You know, why don't I show this stuff? So one day I was like, okay, I'm going to make an Instagram. And what I noticed is that when I was looking at other people's, because I was getting inspo, of course, almost everybody was pink. Almost every esthetician I looked at, it was pink. And I think because it's the beauty industry, right? And like, you know, it's for like, it's girly. It's like geared towards women most of the time. So I was like, I kind of want to be a little different. I don't want to do just the pink vibe. And it's super cute. But I was like, also specializing in acne, it is so like, it's male and female. Like it's not just women and girls that struggle with it. So I didn't want it to come off too girly. So I was like, you know what? Let's do blue. And then I just kind of ran with it. I think at first I wasn't as obsessed, but like as I was doing my Instagram over the like years, I got so obsessed with blue because I felt like, okay, every time I would do a picture or a photo shoot or something, and then I want to post it on my Instagram, I think I'm a little bit perfectionist and I want it to match. And so I started getting kind of crazy and being like, well, if I'm going to post on my Instagram, like my outfit has to be blue because if it's pink, it's not going to look right. And then I just started getting like kind of obsessive about it. And so then funny. Like, well, of course not right now because I went to the Skin Games and they're not blue today, but my nails have been blue for probably like 2 or 3 years. I've never done any other color.
Wow, this is like a rare moment that I'm experiencing.
Yeah, this is rare right now. Like this is my Skin Games nails that are just random. But like my phone case is blue. My nails are blue. So my clothes are blue.
Is
like,
your whole wardrobe blue?
Honestly, yeah. Every time I go to the store, it's actually crazy. Every time I go to the mall and I'm like looking around at stores, I'm just like picking up blue things only. And like people will literally, they'll say it. Like they'll be like, oh, I know what your favorite color is. And it's kind of embarrassing sometimes. But honestly, I just got so obsessed with it that and people started actually recognizing me for it.
Wow.
Like I'd get people tagging me like, Face by Maze. She was tagging me and saying like, oh, Acne Maddie, I found this like blue little sweatshirt for you. And so people really like started like connecting me to the color. And I was like, I think this is a thing.
Yes.
Like I didn't really intend for it to get that far, but I think as it grew and it like really like stuck to me.
She's obsessed with blue.
I really like took it to the next level. So anyway, that's how the blue thing happened. And now I'm just running with it.
Yeah.
And then of course, like branding wise, I have like my little logo that I put on everything. And I think that helps too with just branding. If you look at my acne page, like I've got my graphics that look very like, you know, put together and everything. So yeah.
Oh my gosh. That's so funny. It's so funny because I feel like your brand like truly reflects who you are as a person. It's so funny that you say wardrobe because I feel like I'm very neutral. Like every girl is these days.
Yeah.
Basic, but my whole wardrobe is literally neutrals. It's ridiculous. I'm like, it annoyed me so much that I literally like threw away color because I was like, it's so ugly. Like this is like a rare moment for me right now. I'm like, what am I wearing? I just got a new sweat set and it's neutral, of course. Yeah. So it's so funny. It's so funny that your brand like truly does reflect like who you are. Now, do you do everything yourself?
Yes. So especially when I first started, I do like all my own graphics. I do all my own photo shoots. I do pretty much everything myself, which I think people were really surprised when I would like, they DM me and be like, who does your graphics? Or like, who does your photo? And I'd be like, I do. Yeah. When like, I'm not going to say like, I'm not a graphic designer. Like I'm not like, but I'm very much into photography and like, I know Photoshop. I know how to like use certain programs and stuff. So like, I think that side of it really helped me to go into Instagram because I was already into it. Like before I started my acne page, I was that girl that was like, on the top of like a parking structure in like a weird outfit, like with a tripod, like trying to be like editorial. Like I was just always into that. Like I was like always wanting like, let's go do a photo shoot. Or like if I went on vacation, it was like about the photos. Like I just enjoy it. I love photos. And so then when I started my acne stuff, I was like, well, I'm gonna obviously do photos and stuff. And so then I started doing cute little photo shoots and like branding more and stuff. But I do everything myself. Like, well, okay, I do have some help now. Like, obviously my fiance, he does all my photos now. So he helps me.
Power couple.
Yeah. So like he helps me with like photo shoots now, which is very helpful. I do have like some family members that know how to do graphics and stuff like that. And like my website, like I don't know how to build a website. My dad actually is in website development. So he like, it's kind of family thing. Like my family really supports me and helps me. I do most of it with my Instagram side because I'm just running that myself. I do all my posting and all my ideas. All my reels and everything. But like as far as like website and like things that are a little more complex, like my family's actually just, I'm blessed with like a really techie family that can help me with that stuff. And my parents are business owners. So they're very helpful with like helping me navigate that. Cause I think it's hard when you're not experienced.
Were you like, did you grow up with like all skincare stuff then with your mom being an esthetician?
Yeah. My mom has always been into skincare. You know, it's actually interesting though. She was not an esthetician from a young age. She actually was like a stay-at-home mom, but she was very into beauty and healthcare or I guess self-care, healthcare and self-care.
Yes.
She didn't go to esthetician school till she was in her 40s.
Wow.
Yeah, she was not an esthetician yet. So she actually got into being an esthetician when I was like in high school almost.
Wow.
So like she really inspired me to like go into that because she was like in school doing it.
Yeah.
And I think I was like, oh, like that's interesting. And I was actually going to, I mean, totally other story, but I was going to be a dancer. I grew up in ballet. That was my goal, but then I ended up not wanting to do that. And so then I was like, skincare seems really cool. So anyway, I followed her into that. And so she's obviously been a huge like inspiration and help for me too, like getting started.
Has it been so nice to have somebody to kind of lean back on when you have like, do you feel like you went to her a lot in the beginning?
Oh my gosh. When I first was doing facials, you know how scary it is to like put acids on someone's face and you just hope like nothing bad happens. So like it was so nice because we actually worked in like we owned the spa together. So like she was always there and she's more retired now. She doesn't do treatments, but back then like we were both like doing treatments all day in the same place. And like if I had an issue, I could literally just text her from the treatment room and be like, should I do this? Or like, how many layers of this do I do? Like, she was just always there to like make sure I felt good. And I think that's what made me like grow quickly because I kind of got that confidence a lot quicker than I think I would have. You know, because I had someone there that would literally just be like, don't do that. Or like, you can do that. Or you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Stuff like that.
I hope that my daughter follows my footsteps. That sounds like a dream. I'm like, oh my gosh, I hope that she becomes an esthetician too.
Yeah, that'd be so cool.
I know. So you moved to Texas a year ago now?
Actually, it was like 2.5 years ago.
That flew by so fast. I'm like so sad we never got to hang out in California. I know. But how, like, do you still have your spa in California? And is Mixie just like you?
Okay, yeah. So pretty much me and my mom, like we really started the one in California and that one's called O Seren Skincare.
Okay.
We've had that one for almost 9 years now. Actually, I think it's going to be almost 10. So that's where we started. That's actually the one my mom started before I wasn't even before I was even an esthetician.
Gotcha.
Like she started a little solo practice and she called it Eau Seren. So she was just, it means ocean and serenity put together.
Oh, that's incredible.
And so she started her own thing. And then of course I decided to go to beauty school and she was like, a partner, yay. So of course, you know, when you have just a solo room, we were like, whoa, we're going to need to get a bigger space. So we got a bigger space. Now we have a space in Tustin, California that's got like multiple rooms and it's a lot bigger. It's a full spa.
It's beautiful.
Thank you.
I've seen it in pictures. It's so pretty.
Thank you. Yeah. So I was there for, 5-6 years. Like we were just building it together. Yeah. Then we started hiring estheticians. Yeah. And so we actually have a full team there now of estheticians that I've trained and like they're amazing, honestly. Yeah. So they are doing that now. Of course, like when I moved to Texas, and the reason I moved, my whole family moved. So I just moved because I want to be near my family. When we moved to Texas, it's actually funny. When we first got the building for Mixi, it was called Eau Seren. We actually had no Seren sign on it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and we were like, it's just a second Eau Seren, right? Like we were gonna just have a second one. But then I was like, you know what? I really want this to be like acne focused. Yeah. Because our other spa, it's like all skincare. We do acne, of course, but like it's not only geared towards acne. It's like we have a wide range of clientele. And I think with the Mixi one, I knew I was gonna be more the one running it because my mom is wanting to kind of get out of the treatment room now and be more back end, and she's doing that now. So she knew she wasn't really going to be doing clients as much anymore. So I was like, okay, if this is like my thing more, like I know this has to be acne focused. So that's when we actually rebranded this new place and we called it Mixi Skincare. And then of course the line and everything came from there. But so the Mixi is actually like, it's more my thing now. Of course, my mom, like, she helps a ton. Like, she does the back end. That's so nice to have I would say
family support own business.
Yeah, but I definitely run this one, and we have multiple estheticians at the Mixi location too now.
I'm so happy for you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Of course. Where does the name Mixi come from?
Yeah. Okay. So Mixi, it's kind of random. So I wanted it to just be main thing, short and sweet. Like, I don't want it to be a complicated name. So I was like, Mixi's so easy to remember and so easy to spell. Absolutely. So that was like main thing. I just wanted to be nice and simple and clean. But I felt like, okay, every time I work with a client, every time an acne client comes in, I'm like essentially mixing them their routine and like putting together the right percentages and the right ingredients and everything for them specifically. And so I'm like, I really do like mix different things into everybody's routine. Like nobody's is exactly the same. And so that's kind of where Mixi came from. It was like, this genius. Is a Mixi of different things.
And I love how clean it is. It's so like on brand. Everything about your brand just is so cohesive, which I love. For you being in the aesthetic space, like, and you like essentially starting your business in California, how is it moving to a new state? Did you know anybody? Did you have to like kind of be very patient with getting new clients?
Yeah. So it was really interesting because in California, I was so booked solid. Like I couldn't take new people. It was insane. And like, honestly, I was probably doing a little bit too much. Like I was overbooking myself as most estheticians do because we want to get everybody in, but then we end up killing ourselves. So anyway, that's where I was coming from. Like I was coming from like, I am so booked here. I can't even like live life. And so when I moved to Texas, it was a huge transition. Like I didn't know anybody but my family. And so when I started it, it was actually like just me. Like I was just in there by myself. And it was just a weird transition because at the other spa we had like 5 estheticians and like it was like always bustling. But at this one I was just like in there, you know. And it's funny because we knew we wanted to grow it, so we actually have a space that has multiple rooms, but it was just kind of like me. But yeah,
choose your room.
But what's funny is I had followers on my Acne Maddie page that were like from the area that were just following me in California because they just wanted acne tips or whatever. And then they saw I moved, and then they were like, "Oh, I want to see her." So I actually got quite a few clients just from Instagram that saw that I moved to their area, and I was like, "Wow, that's really cool."
The power of social media.
Power of social media is huge, like honestly. And so I think me posting like, "Hey guys, I'm in Plano now," like people were like, "Oh, I live here," and so they were super excited. So I did get some clients that way, but I will say like, it's not like I just moved here and got booked up. Like I definitely, it was almost like starting over. Like I had very slow days. I was not booked up. It took I would say it took like a few months to like really start getting booked up. And then of course I do virtual too. Yeah. So it wasn't too bad because all my virtual clients obviously stayed with me. Yeah. So I was still super busy because all my virtual clients I still had, and that was amazing to be able to take those to another state. Like you can do virtuals from anywhere. So it was actually a lot easier to transition with the business because I could still be working that way even though I didn't have in-person clients yet. So virtual definitely helped a lot with that. But it did take time definitely to grow the in-persons. Yeah. And then I think after a few months it started kind of picking up and I started getting more referrals and just people knowing me in the area. Yeah. And now it's definitely gotten more booked. Yeah.
That must have been so nice for you to have like a virtual program while you were moving. That's like security, which is amazing. I'm like, that's so incredible for you to have that while you're building another business. Yeah. So for virtual consultations, how does that look like for you? Do you take them like one day a week? Do you?
Yeah, I do them usually 3 days a week.
Okay.
Yeah. So I try and kind of like divvy up my schedule because I feel like if I do too much at once, I get overwhelmed. Yeah. So I actually only do in-treatment or in-person clients 3 days a week. Okay. And then I do virtuals the other 3 days.
Nice.
And then obviously trying to just do content like whenever I can. Yeah. But yeah, so I do kind of every other day. Like I've got virtuals this day. And then I do check-ins for virtuals too. So like they're ongoing. Yeah. So those I just kind of do as needed, like when they need their check-ins.
How have you created such like a seamless system with your virtual consultation?
I get asked this quite a lot. So unfortunately, I don't have the best advice or the best answer if you're looking to do it because when I first started virtual, it was about 3 years ago almost. I was like using 5 different systems. Yeah. I was like keeping track of this on this and keeping track of this on that. Cause like when you have so many virtuals now, I didn't have that many at the time. So it was easy to track them. But as that virtual started growing and I had like a lot of people to keep track of, crazy, my dad actually has one of his businesses that he owns is a software development company. Wow. And so he actually helped me develop a custom software for virtual.
Amazing.
So I actually have my own software that is made for virtual clients. Like it has everything you need for check-ins. Like they go in, they hit bi-weekly check-in, they upload their photos into a portal.
Oh my
They
gosh.
put all their notes of how their skin's feeling. I have their regimen in there. I have their changes in there. Like every single one of my virtual clients has their own portal that they can track all their progress and that gets sent to me. Yeah. So I actually have a whole system, but it's custom made.
No, I know.
So it doesn't really help other people.
You're like, everything with my brand is custom.
So, I love that. I mean, okay, I would love to possibly offer it to other estheticians in the future. Yeah. But I'm just not there at this point.
You're
but
working on your skincare brand.
Yeah, I do think it'd be amazing because so many estheticians are going into virtual now. That's such a huge market. Yeah. So I feel like if that was a need and we were ready, I would love to like have it available to other estheticians. Yeah.
Let me know when it's available.
Maybe I'm gonna join.
I know. I'm like, I got you on. You got me on your skincare. What's next? I'm gonna be on it. That's so funny. Where did you find the most success with you moving to a new state, and what was like your most referral source of getting new clients?
Yeah, I mean, I was lucky because I had already a built up Instagram, and I think social media is so powerful with getting clients. To be honest, like most of my acne clients that I've had in the past few years up to now, whenever I asked them, how did you find me? It was Instagram. Yeah. So that's definitely my biggest marketing point. But when you're in a new city, you know, you may not have followers in that area. Yeah. And so I think first off, definitely still Instagram. And then switching my marketing to like, okay, tagging it as Plano, Texas and not tagging it as California. Like doing stuff like that. Obviously changing my location in my Instagram and all of that so that anybody that does look, they know where I'm changed. Yeah. But another thing that I've done that has actually helped is doing the Instagram ads, but like only having it go out to people in that city. Gotcha. You know, like very localized ads. Yeah. Because I feel like that really helps to just get people like, okay, anyone in the DFW area, like here's before and afters of my work. And I think that really gets people to like see you.
Do you do your own ads for your Instagram?
Yes.
Since you do like everything.
Yeah.
I'm like, do you do the ads too?
Yeah, I do. Okay. I do the ads too. Honestly, it's nothing super fancy. Yeah. I'm really just promoting or doing ads for like the content that I already do normally. Yeah. Like if I have an amazing before and after that I know is going to be eye catching, I'll literally just like set up an ad for that's like, I don't know, 5 or 6 days, certain amount of money. And then I like target it to whatever area, whether that's, if I want it to be nationwide for virtuals, I can do that.
Yeah,
I actually do virtual even in like Europe, Canada, Australia as well.
Now that you have your own,
amazing. So now I can offer it even farther. So some of my ads, I'm like really pushing out there. But when I was trying to do in person specifically, I would just target to like the DFW area.
Yeah, and I feel like before and afters are huge because literally every single time I post a before and after, I get a new booking.
Oh yeah.
I feel with Instagram, you have to have your portfolio. Do you feel like that's like a huge reason why obviously you get more bookings?
I think that's essentially the reason why I even grew as my Instagram at all, because I feel like with before and afters, it's like showcasing what you're actually doing. And it's like when a client is looking to go somewhere, like, okay, you want your hair done, you want your skin done, like, what are you looking for? You're looking for their like work. And so like, as much as it's amazing to like have informational graphics and like I love doing educational stuff too, I feel like if a client is looking for an acne specialist and they click on your page and they just see tons of before and afters, they're gonna be like automatic trust. Okay, she's getting results.
Absolutely.
You know. So I think before and afters are probably the biggest thing for my Instagram. Like I'm trying to do those consistently. Now, like not everybody, it kind of sucks because I actually have a lot of before and afters that I've never been even able to post because the person was like not comfortable.
Yeah,
with
I know
posting
that always
it.
sucks.
I know. So it's like, I try, a lot of people are really nice and like they do let you post, but I get it. It's a vulnerable thing. And so like not everybody wants to share that side.
They're like, my face is going to be blasted all over the internet. And then people steal before and after.
Yes,
so annoying.
I've had that happen too.
I know.
They just take your watermark off.
I know.
And they're
like, how did you do that?
And then in the caption, they're like, my client. And I'm like, excuse me? Like,
did you go through the whole process?
Yeah, like that was my 6 months of work there. Like,
so rude.
It's so rude.
Oh my gosh, people steal stuff all the time.
It's
like,
crazy.
Like no shame at all.
Literally no shame.
Yeah.
Like they just put it right out there. Yeah. And it's funny because I'm not even usually the one that finds it. I have other people that DM it to me and they're like, isn't this your client? And I'm like, I didn't even find that.
Because you're so distinct. Like your brand is so strong. People are like, I know this is not yours. No, that's so true.
Yeah.
I want to talk really quickly about Mixi and what that looks like for the future of estheticians.
Yes. Okay. So I have a lot of goals with Mixi. I did not expect it to grow as it has in the esthetician community. When I first was making, the products and everything, it was really just for like my clientele and like for my businesses, like to have it Mixi Skincare, or even like we carry it obviously at Osaren in California, my other business. So like that was like my main goal, was like it's for my clients to like get the results that I want. Well, of course, when you're showing on social media that you're getting results and like saying that you're using this now, you get people that are like, I want to use that, or I want to try it. So I started getting a lot of messages, and it wasn't that I was against doing reseller or like wholesaling, but I don't think it was like the top of my list at the start. Like I just had so many other things going on. Well, when I started realizing that a lot of people were interested, I was like, okay, let's try and, get like start doing this. And so I started opening up and saying, okay, if you want to be a wholesaler, like, submit here and we can kind of get you started. And it's grown so much. Like I am so grateful for all the estheticians that have supported it and have been open to trying a new line, because I think for estheticians, it's an investment. It's an investment to try new products and to like really delve into like trying to get results with them, and even going out of like what they're used to. It's like a whole new thing. So I'm really grateful that estheticians have been so open to Mixi and like so accepting of Mixi. And so that's been really amazing. I think my goal at this point moving forward is like, I would love, Mixi's going to be a full brand. Obviously right now we are still in the process. Like I tell people, we're still a baby brand. Like we have only been out a year. Our first product that we came out with was last February.
Wow.
So it's only been a year that we've even been on the market, and we still have so many things to release. Like my new SPF is coming out very soon. That's the next one coming out.
I'm so excited.
So that one I'm very, very, very excited for. But we even have other products that are like going to be coming out soon that are like totally different. Like we really want the line to be all inclusive. Like it's everything you would need. And not that you can't mix it with other brands, of course, because I know estheticians love to like cocktail things. But I do want Mixi to be a full brand where like if you wanted to only use Mixi, it has everything you need to get results for acne. So that's the goal. Like we are going to be full inclusive brand, everything you would need for a line. And then of course we want to just grow into that space and like help estheticians learn how to use it. And like we want to have full training out. We don't have full education out yet because I'm only one person and it's a lot of work, but like our goal is that we'd actually love to have like full education on acne and learning how to do acne and then using MIXI and how to use it. So that's something that will be coming in the future as well. And then of course, just growing from there, like I'd love to do trade shows. I'd love to just like connect with estheticians and everything. And so really the goal is to grow as much as we can and you know, just help everybody to get the results or kind of fill gaps if they need it.
Yeah, that's incredible. I'm so excited. Like how fast MIXI blew up. I'm so excited to see what happens in a year. And you have my full support. I'm like, you go girl. Like everything that you do is amazing. I'm just like, again, and I respect you so much in the industry, and you're just, again, such a light. You're so sweet, and I just really appreciate you. But thank you so much for being on today's podcast. I had so much fun chatting with you, finally meeting you in person. And I always ask every esthetician on my podcast, what is one piece of advice for a new esthetician that you would give?
Okay, I feel like when I first became an esthetician, I really wasn't niching on anything. Like I was just kind of, and I think that's natural when you're a new esthetician. You want to just kind of like dip your feet in everywhere and like see what feels best. But I think the quicker you can really figure out what you want to specialize in, because the thing is, I think it's tough if you're marketing yourself that you're an expert in everything, right?
I agree.
Like I'm an expert in acne, anti-aging, hyperpigmentation, like melasma, all that. Like I think it's a little bit hard to market yourself as like I am amazing at every single thing because it's like really if you're an expert in something you should be doing that pretty full time. And so I think I wish I would have niched on acne a little bit sooner when I was an esthetician. I got into it pretty quickly, but I think if you really have a passion for a specific thing in skincare, like whether that's acne or aging or whatever it is, I think the best thing you can do is like really dive into that like as quickly as you can and start getting your clientele that is that. Because if I would have started just marketing myself like I do acne or I'm trying to do acne, I think I would have even gotten experience quicker with acne clients, but you know, I wasn't. So I think just really try and find what you're focusing on.
Yeah, that's such great advice. Thank you so much. And lastly, where can people find you on Instagram, and then where can they find your MIXI skincare?
Okay, yeah. So first of all, thank you for having me because honestly, you've been a big inspiration to me with Instagram and just like seeing all the things you're doing. It's so amazing, and like you've grown as well so quickly. So I look up to you as well. As far as finding me anywhere, obviously my Instagram's acne Maddie. I do have a MIXI skincare Instagram as well, and that's just more products and stuff, like more stuff like that. I also post before and afters of my wholesaler estheticians that they get, which is cool. And then if you want to look into MIXI, it's MIXI Skincare. If you're an esthetician that wants to use MIXI or be a wholesaler, it's called MIXIPros.com. So you can find that on the MIXI Skincare as well, but there is a separate website.
Awesome. Well, make sure you guys go check that out. But again, thank you so much for being on today's podcast. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next episode.